Gunfire ripped across the Blackridge Mountains, forcing Lieutenant Daniel Cross face down into the frozen dirt. His four-man special operations team was trapped 72 hours, cut off from extraction, surrounded by enemy fighters closing in from the high ground. Then through the radio's static came a woman's voice, steady, cold, and certain. "If you move now, you'll be dead in 7 seconds." On the 6th, a single distant shot cracked through the fog, and one of the enemy guns went silent. Cross didn't know who she was, but he was about to let a ghost lead them out. Before we dive into this story, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. Welcome to Grateful Stories, where tales of compassion and kindness are told. Let's uncover what really happened. Lieutenant Daniel Cross pressed his face into the frozen dirt as a burst of gunfire shredded the air above him. Sharp splinters of rock stung his cheek. The radio hissed once, then a voice came through, low, calm, and cold as steel. "If you move now, you'll be dead in 7 seconds." 3 seconds of silence, only the sound of wind slicing over the ridge. Cross's pulse hammered in his ears as he glanced toward the others. No one moved. Flash cut. 72 hours earlier, Sabre 6 had touched down in the Blackridge Mountains for what was supposed to be a clean extraction, but the inbound helicopter had choked out 3 clicks from the landing zone, coughing smoke into the night sky. With the bird gone, every exit vanished. The terrain was merciless, jagged stone patches of ice and narrow gullies that funneled sound for miles. Now a damp fog wrapped itself around the valley like a noose, cutting visibility to less than 3 meters. The cold bit through their uniforms, freezing breath into mist. The enemy owned the high ground. Cross could feel it. Every shadow above them was a rifle barrel waiting to breathe fire. The first rounds cracked past without warning, snapping branches and slamming into the rock wall behind him. Carla Ruiz was already prone, scanning with her scope. "Multiple positions," she called over the comms, voice tight. "They're watching for movement." Muzzle flashes lit the fog in brief, violent bursts. Hale slid in beside Cross, his rifle braced against the rock. "Ammo's not going to last long," he muttered. The truth hung heavy between them. Their magazines were running dry, and the enemy knew it. Cross keyed his mic. "Any station, this is Sabre 6 Alpha, requesting immediate assistance. Grid 42.8910, north 109.2745 west. We are taking heavy fire." He waited, static, tried again. Still nothing. The silence pressed in harder than the fog. No air support, no quick reaction force. Just 4 operators pinned in a shallow depression, surrounded on every side. Hale's voice came over private comms. "You ever hear the one about the phantom sniper?" Cross kept his eyes on the ridgeline. "Not the time. Maybe not, but the stories say she shows up when the odds are impossible." Cross didn't answer. He didn't believe in ghosts, not in the field, but the idea lingered like heat from a dying fire. Ruiz's tone sharpened. "Contact, east slope. They're moving." She adjusted her rifle breath, slow, steady. Cross lifted his binoculars just long enough to count at least 10 firing positions, maybe more, and they were tightening the noose. The radio crackled again, that same voice, still calm, still cutting through the noise like a blade. "Hostiles at bearing 045, 400 meters elevated behind the split boulder. Secondary group at 315, using the dead tree for cover." Cross froze. Whoever this was had eyes on the fight clearer than his own night optics could manage in this fog. He hesitated, every rule in his training telling him not to take orders from an unknown operator. Then Hale's voice cut in quietly. "She's right. I can see the muzzle flashes now." Cross looked at his team, 3 faces in the mist waiting for him to choose. He drew a long breath, keyed the mic, and said, "Overwatch, we're listening." Cross didn't waste time asking for credentials. "First bound Ruiz, move northeast 20 meters to the Horseshoe Rocks. Cross suppress." The voice was steady, not a hint of urgency. It carried the kind of confidence you only heard from someone who'd done this more times than they could count. Ruiz broke cover and sprinted, her boots crunching against frozen shale. Tracers stitched the fog around her, but a sharp crack split the night. One enemy muzzle flash went dark before the next burst could come. Ruiz dove behind the rocks intact. Next, Hale to the fallen log 15 meters south of Ruiz. Another shot rang out, this one from a different angle entirely. Cross blinked. The sound had moved like there were 2 snipers working in perfect sync. Hale launched himself forward, the line of fire already cleared for him. Cross felt the pattern unfolding. She wasn't just killing targets. She was shaping the battlefield. Every shot was a scalpel carving away threats in the exact order they'd need to move. The third movement came fast. Ruiz and Hale laid down suppressing fire while Cross bounded forward, gravel sliding under his boots. He felt the impact of rounds slamming into rock just inches away, then silence from that direction. Another phantom shot erasing the danger. Her second kill of the sequence was a tough one. Cross had time to glimpse it through his scope gunner, half hidden behind a broken tree, only a sliver of shoulder showing. The wind gusted hard across the ridge. Any normal shooter would have waited for a better window. She didn't. One crack, one less problem. By the fifth bound, Cross's doubts were gone. Overwatch, this is Cross. You're in charge, but we follow your lead. Copy. Keep moving. Then the night shifted. A single muzzle flashed from far off, too far to be aimed at Saber 6. It wasn't. It was aimed at her. Cross's gut tightened. Sniper, he warned over comms. The distance was extreme, 2.1 kilometers at least. Whoever he was, he knew what he was doing, and he was hunting their ghost. Overwatch didn't sound rattled. Hold positions. I'm going to introduce myself. Seconds ticked. Then her rifle spoke not at him, but into a bare patch of rock halfway between their positions. The crack echoed differently, like a misplaced shot. Bait. The counter sniper bit. His return fire lit the fog for half a heartbeat. That was all she needed. Her next round was already chambered. It landed exactly where his flash had been erasing him from the fight. Threat neutralized. Resume advance. The valley narrowed ahead. Stonewall Ridge loomed, an ancient wall of rock with natural cover that could finally shield them from three sides. They made the push, breath burning in their chests, thighs aching from the cold and the sprint. Cross slid in behind a boulder, heart pounding. We made it. The radio came alive again. Negative. You have 30 hostiles converging from 3 directions. Estimated time to contact 12 minutes. 12 minutes. No air cover. 1 sniper. 4 rifles. A faint electronic tone pulsed in Cross's earpiece, her timer already counting down. We hold here, she said, and we make them regret it. The seconds bled away. Each number on the invisible clock was another heartbeat, another breath in the freezing dark. Cross checked his weapon, then looked at Hale and Ruiz. No one spoke. The only sound was the wind and the ticking inside their heads. The timer in Cross's ear clicked down from 12 minutes. Heavy weapons first, Overwatch said, her voice calm enough to make the cold feel sharper. Through the fog, Cross caught a faint heat shimmer gun crew hauling a belt-fed monster into position. If they set up, Stonewall would be shredded. A single shot cut across the valley. The gunner's silhouette jerked back, collapsing into the snow. The assistant froze, hands hovering over the tripod before melting into the mist. One threat gone. 11 minutes left. Next command element, she continued. Cross scanned until he saw him standing taller, issuing hand signals. Even in this weather, leadership carried itself differently. A sharp crack echoed from the ridge. The man dropped his unit's formation, rippling with confusion. 10 minutes. Ruiz called targets, her own rifle spitting controlled bursts. Hale shifted to cover the eastern slope, forcing a squad into a rocky dead end. The air smelled of burnt powder and wet stone. Communications bearing 285, Overwatch reported. Cross spotted the radio antenna peeking over a boulder. The enemy operator hunched, speaking into his mic. The shot came so fast, Cross didn't see the trigger pull, only the way the antenna toppled sideways. 9 minutes. Incoming fire chewed at the stone in front of them. Chips sprayed across Cross's face as he ducked. Hale shouted, West flank. 2 shapes moved low and fast, hugging the terrain. Cross and Ruiz opened up, slowing them, but not stopping them. Demo Specialist South Ridge Overwatch cut in through the haze. Cross glimpsed the bulky pack, C4, maybe more. He knew what that meant. If the man reached Stonewall, they'd lose their only cover. A breath later, the pack's owner crumpled. 8 minutes. Then the danger came from closer than expected. A squad slipped through the blind ground just 80 meters out. Cross swung his rifle, but the angle was bad. He saw it now, a narrow split between 2 slabs of granite, no more than 15 inches wide. Hold, Overwatch said softly. Her shot threaded the gap, precise as a scalpel. The lead man dropped mid-step, falling into the one behind him. The rest broke scattering into the rocks. 7 minutes. The fog thickened, swallowing shapes until only the closest movement was visible. "Moving target 2,250 meters heading east," she called. Her breathing slowed over the comms, each inhale and exhale matching a beat across his chest. He imagined her view scope fogging at the edges, wind gusting just enough to throw a round off course. She counted her heartbeats, timing the squeeze between them. The shot tore through the mist, and a distant figure folded into the earth. 6 minutes. Enemy fire faltered. Cross risked a look over the ridge. Figures were pulling back the neat lines of their approach, dissolving into scattered movement. They'd had enough. "They're breaking," Ruiz said, voice tight with disbelief. Hale grinned, teeth white against the grime. "Guess ghosts work overtime." Overwatch's voice returned, even calmer than before. "Clear to hold. They won't be back soon?" Cross keyed his mic. "Overwatch, you saved 4 lives tonight. We owe you, Ghost. Don't stay for parties." She cut in and the line went silent. The wind carried only the sound of boots shifting on stone, the hiss of cooling barrels. Cross stared into the fog where her shots had come from, knowing she was already gone. Dawn broke over Stonewall Ridge in streaks of pale gold, the light cutting through the remnants of fog like a slow-moving blade. The battlefield looked almost innocent now, just rock, frost, and silence. Near the base of a boulder, Ruiz knelt and picked something from the dirt. She turned it over in her glove and brought it to Cross. It was a patch, silver and black, depicting a coiled viper with wings outstretched. No unit number, no official tag, but Cross recognized it instantly. Phantom unit. Hale stared at it for a long moment. "So it's true," he murmured. "She was right here with us." Cross slipped the patch into a secure pocket on his vest. "Pack up. Birds inbound in 5. The rest of the exfil was silent. Back at base after debrief, Cross began digging. He didn't go through official channels, those would lead to dead ends. Instead, he called in favors, reached out to people who owed him answers. The same name surfaced more than once: Alexandra Reigns. No service record, no rank listed, just whispers of a sniper whose missions were wiped from existence after a classified operation turned catastrophic. Some said she died in country. Others swore she'd walked away before command could bury her in a court-martial. A few spoke of shots no one else could make, and a calm that never cracked under fire. Weeks passed. Sabre 6 rotated through new assignments. Then one afternoon, Hale stormed into the ready room, a tablet in his hand. "Sir, you need to see this." On the screen, an article about a new treatment center for special operations veterans battling PTSD, fully funded for 5 years. Anonymous donor, the location, a rural property in Montana that once belonged to Alexandra Reigns. Cross read the lines twice, feeling the connection slot into place. Hale wasn't done. "It's not just this one, sir. We traced the foundation's activity, multiple programs, prosthetic research, family support, housing assistance for wounded operators, each funded through a maze of legal shells hiding the benefactor. And then there was the Memorial Fund, 3 scholarships for the children of soldiers killed in Operation Silent Thunder." Cross remembered the name. That was the op that had cost her team. Silent Thunder had taken more than lives. It had erased her from the system. And yet here she was, unseen, still serving, just through different sites. A month later, an envelope appeared on Cross's desk, no return address. Inside, one piece of paper, handwritten in clean block letters. "Heroism isn't about medals. It's about standing in the gap when others can't. Doing what must be done because it's right, not because anyone will know." Signed, AR. The Viper and Wings patch was enclosed edges, worn colors faded from years in the field. Cross kept it in his locker, mounted in a simple frame. It wasn't for display. It was a reminder, one that only he and his team understood. 3 weeks later, intel crossed his desk. Phantom unit sighted operating in an undisclosed conflict zone overseas. No confirmation, just a blurred image of a lone shooter on a ridge. The stance, the scope, the way the barrel tracked it was her. By the time anyone tried to verify, the position was empty. Like the mountain night in Blackridge, she was gone. Sabre 6 didn't need proof. They knew somewhere out there Alexandra Reigns was still behind a rifle watching over someone else's fight. And when the shot came, it would land exactly where it needed. The story of Lieutenant Daniel Cross and the phantom sniper Alexandra Reigns reveals profound lessons about courage, sacrifice, and unseen heroism. In the face of impossible odds, true valor emerges not from recognition, but from selfless action. Reigns, a ghost with no official record, shaped the battlefield, with precise shots saving lives without seeking credit. Her story teaches us that heroism often operates in the shadows, driven by duty rather than applause. Cross's team learned to trust an unknown voice, highlighting the power of faith in others when survival is at stake. Reigns' later contributions, funding veteran care and scholarships, show that impact endures beyond the fight through quiet, persistent service. The worn Viper patch symbolizes resilience, a reminder that those who stand in the gap carry scars, but remain steadfast. This tale urges us to act with conviction even when no one watches, and to honor those who serve silently. It challenges us to trust, persevere, and recognize that the greatest heroes may never be named yet. Their actions ripple through lives, reshaping futures with unwavering precision.